So this is Donny and Dina Go to a Wedding by Chris Mollica. Fade in. Interior, Donny and Dina's house, bedroom, dawn. A bed sits in a large empty room. Scattered along the walls are clothes, shirts and pants folded and stacked, dresses and sweatshirts clumped in piles. A cardboard box sits on one side of the bed, an alarm clock perched on it. And in the bed, asleep, Donald Donny Ricci Jr., 30s, hair perfectly coiffed, lips tight, pajamas buttoned to the top, and Dina Bellincioni, 30s, hair swirling about her head, snoring, an oversized t-shirt engulfing her body. Donny is in a straight line, perched on the edge of the bed. Dina is splayed out like a starfish. Neither have sheets covering them, as all of the sheets are located under Dina. The clock on Dina's side of the bed hits 5:30 a.m. and the radio starts blaring. Lighting up the radio waves, there's Huey Lewis and the news with the power of love. Super, September 14, 1985. The power of love begins blaring through the radio. Dina cringes, Donny shoots awake. Donny starts crawling over Dina when she grabs him.
We're staying in bed.
Dina.
Every morning the alarm goes off and we get out of bed like you lunatics. We love the bed and yet we just get out of it. You don't even snooze. That's harsh, Donny.
Donny, laughing, struggles against her.
Dee, we got a long day ahead.
I want to cuddle and talk.
We'll talk when we get dressed.
I haven't even told you about my dream yet. It was wicked cool.
Jeez, you're strong.
You were cooking.
Donny freezes.
At the deli?
No, not the deli. It was one of them big metal kitchens where everything is shiny.
Yeah, that sounds choice.
Totally. And you fed me shrimp, Donny. Held it out right into my mouth.
You were there.
Yeah, I was. Because here's the sickest part.
Hard to beat a shiny kitchen.
I was singing.
Right.
Yeah, it felt so real. It felt...
Dina looks off, lost in the dream. Donny watches. She catches him.
What you looking at, you doofus?
Donny moves to kiss her, but Dina covers her mouth.
Get real. Morning breath.
Oh, Dina.
He pulls her hand away and they kiss. As they make out, Donny reaches out and slams her hand down on the clock, knocking it into the cardboard box.
I guess we're going to be late.
So the deli doesn't open on time. Big whoop.
I mean to the wedding.
To the...
Dina pushes Donny off her. He tumbles from the bed, hitting the floor with a thud.
Oh, shit. The wedding.
Smash to black. Titles Donny and Dina Go to a Wedding. Accompanied by a rollicking 80s guitar riff. Interior, Donny and Dina's house soon after. The house has no furniture to speak of. All 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, living room and dining room are bare.
You sure you're okay?
I'm cool. I mainly landed on my head.
There is one 5x7 photo of Donny and Dina hanging on a wall in the living room area. They look very happy in it. Interior, Donny and Dina's house kitchen soon after. There's a card table, a folding chair and a stool. Donny sits in the folding chair. Dina's at the counter preparing food.
As long as you didn't hurt that pretty face, I got to show you off tonight.
You didn't have to get up with me, you know.
I got stuff to do. My hair, my nails.
You do have your performance now.
My final performance.
I thought you could use some rest.
Then who would have made you breakfast?
Dina drops a bowl of cereal in front of Donny.
When are your folks heading in?
I don't know. They're being flaky.
Get real. The only flaky thing about your parents is your dad's dandruff.
Donny gives her a look.
We should be able to talk about these things. It's a dry scalp. It's common.
I got to drop some stuff. I'll ask him again.
Dina sits on the stool with a cup of coffee.
Angie tried to back out.
Your dad couldn't have been happy about that.
There is no way he's passing up an opportunity to dance. She really hates that about him.
Did you tell him we're staying the night?
No. Do your parents know?
Donny shakes his head.
I'm kind of jazzed to stay somewhere that doesn't have an echo.
How's the stool?
Not my favorite.
We should get furniture.
Probably.
It's just overwhelming.
This is why I never had a dollhouse.
Don't get me started on the lawn.
What's so great about having nice grass? We don't got cows.
They laugh.
You still want a house like this, right?
Don't you?
We'll be glad we bought it. Eventually. If we ever.
Yeah.
They say it's a nice investment.
Who says?
Everybody.
Who's everybody?
Donny looks at his watch.
I got it, Jet.
Eat your food, Donny.
Donny scarfs down another spoonful, stands.
You're going to be all right.
Just get home on time with your suit.
We could not go.
Dina grabs Donny's bowl and takes a big bite.
You tell everyone I got diarrhea.
You should be so lucky.
We can sneak into the city, get a nice cozy in the hotel room.
Dina swings the spoon in Donny's direction.
We are going to this wedding, Donny, even if it kills us.
Interior, Dia Giacomo house, dining room. A large knife descends slowly into cake. The cake is one item in a gargantuan decadent feast. It's all piled upon a glass dining room table in a garishly decorated room. The knife is held by, how are we saying this? Heman.
It's him, I think Himman. Yeah.
Himman. Oh yes, Himman, 30s. One of the 5 nearly identical looking women, the Giacomo cousins. The others are Donna, Summer, Joni, and Mitchell. They are all dressed in robes.
What are you doing?
Chill, nerd.
Shall I be Donna?
Oh,
That's Marie's
did I leave
cake.
out Donna. I'm so
Oh, are
sorry.
you Donna?
No, I'm not Donna.
I'll be Donna.
Okay.
That's Marie's cake.
She's right there.
Across the room paces Marie Giacomo, 30s, in a similar robe, rollers in her hair. She has a finger in one ear, a corded phone pressed firmly against the other.
You're gagging. I'm on the freaking phone. Jeez.
Marie grabs the phone cradle and exits to the next room. Can I get a corner piece? Interior, Dia Giacomo house kitchen. Marie sits on a counter, twirling the phone cord in her fingers.
Sorry about that, Dee.
Exterior, Donny and Dina's house morning. Dina, phone balanced between her ear and shoulder, works on her hands and knees in a flowerbed, more tortured than successful. The phone cord runs along the lawn and in the front door. We move back and forth between them as they speak.
Forget about it, Marie. I love those girls. Donna, Summer, Joni, Mitchell, even Hyman.
You
You know it's pronounced Himmin.
Totally slipped my mind.
You should so be here with us.
You're right. I love them, but you know how we get. They get catty, I get bitchy, and you get pushed around. Enjoy. We'll have our own little celebration soon.
Can you believe the day is actually here?
You've only been talking about this since you were 5.
Let's be honest. I never had all them big dreams like you.
Them big dreams haven't done me no favors. I told you I'm thinking about hanging up my microphone.
You're real. You're an amazing singer. Remember, that's coming from your #1 fan.
Oh, Marie. Donny says I can't give up on it either.
Love that, Donnie. How's he not popped the question yet?
Dina unearths a flower. Desperately, she tries to put it back.
You've been together how long?
Not too long, just 4 years.
And here, me and Bobby, it's been 7 months.
Some people don't like to jet into things.
Honestly, Dee, you're so freaking understanding. Any other friend wouldn't be so cool since, you and Bobby used to be together
Be engaged
and amicably broke up.
amicably.
Honestly, he's a new man, not that poser you went out with back then.
Big time. You totally bring something not gross out in him.
See, you're the best. You're more than a friend to me, you know that, right? The oats to my whole.
Point of view, Jimmy Peralty. We see Dina in her Dina in her hand, on her hands and knees. On the lawn, her butt wiggling.
Thanks, Marie. Wait, which of us is the one with the mustache?
Exterior, Donny and Dina's house, continuous. Jimmy Peralty, 13, is perched atop his bike, eyes wide, jaw agape, sunglasses flipped up. He flips down his glasses and jets off on his bike. Exterior, streets of Long Island, continuous. Jimmy pedals furiously as if his life depended on it. Exterior, Don's Deli, soon after, a large neon sign. Don's Deli. Jimmy rides up to the front and dismounts. Okay, thank you. Emma.
Ooh, I didn't have an awful lot to say on this. I mean, I thought I quite like the idea of all these almost identical women. I thought they could be, you know, perhaps a sort of interesting Greek chorus. Or who is it? What's the small boy at the end called who spies? Is he Jimmy? I quite like the idea that he might sort of cycle from place to place and lead us from event to event somewhat too. And that was quite fun. I mean, there's a sort of surreality about those sisters, and them having all sort of chopped up bits of singers' names is quite funny. And that, you know, you could get like sort of, you could have fun with ongoing gags about people's ludicrous names that no one ever gets right. And I also wonder what's happening with Dinah and Donny, because one of them says, do they know, I think, about Donny's parents? And excuse me, I wonder whether they are squatting or something. Do they say squatting in America when you stay in an empty place?
Squatting?
Do you have squatting?
Yeah.
I didn't know. You never know whether it's the same word or a different word. But yeah, I just wonder whether, you know, they've gone into somebody's empty house and are staying there. But something seems to be going on, which is like sort of mysterious, and that maybe there's something a little bit like oh God, what was that thing ages ago with Laura Dern in it? And they went around shooting people and they were sort of terribly sweet, really. Was it True Romance or something?
Twin Peaks, are you thinking? Of?
No, it was a film and it was ages ago, like, well, ages, the 90s, I suppose. And they might not have been Laura Dern, actually thinking about it. But anyway, there was
Natural Born Killers, maybe?
Yeah, maybe it was that. Maybe it was that I'm thinking of. Yeah,
Woody
but
Harrelson.
it was him, wasn't it? Yeah. There's a kind of sweetness, but a slight madness about them, and the way they're quite mismatched as well, I think is interesting. You think, what are these two people doing together? So yeah, and I also am quite curious about why she's giving up on singing, and if that actually, you know, happens or not too.
Cool, thank you. Erin.
Well, I like that, like, it took place in the 80s and all like the, you know, the different like slang from the 80s and stuff like that. Like I'm a sucker for nostalgia, or anything that takes place not in present day. But yeah, I think it's really, really interesting. And then the dynamic of Marie actually marrying Dina's ex and stuff. I think there's probably some sort of twist in there somewhere that we're going to find out later, but I definitely like want to know what happens next. It's really fun. It's really interesting. I don't know, I liked it a lot.
Thank you. John.
I really liked it. I loved the humor in it. Absolutely loved it. And I really loved Erin's New York accent. That sold it to me. No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think Donny's obviously the straight lace, or the straight man, as it were. And she's the one who sets up the gags. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Could have happily read loads more.
Brilliant, thank you. Ian.
I read through this earlier and made some notes, but reading it, as we've read through it, I've changed my mind completely.
Interesting.
In a positive way. I mean, it's actually the subtle humor comes through better as we read it than if you're trying to read it off the page. I thought I did like that. It started to really intrigue me, because at first I was struggling to see where it was going to go, and it was a bit jarring. But now we've read it, I like it much more. That opening scene reminded me of Four Weddings and a Funeral opening scene, where they're all rushing to get off the wedding. So I don't know if that's deliberate, and it seems to be a lot of little quirky references through it already, with the names and stuff. So I wonder that'd be quite good. And I wondered if it's episodic, because Donny and Dina go to a wedding. Maybe Donny and Dina do something else next week, and Donny and Dina do something else. I think that would be quite an interesting concept to pursue if these are the same, these are the main characters of. So yeah, I really turned around. I liked it, and I thought, I want to know a bit more about it. I think it's got a lot of things it could explore.
Yeah, thanks. There was that phase, wasn't there, of sitcoms. I'm thinking of the one about. You see, my brain's gone now. I'm addled. How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
And Friends did it occasionally as well. where the title of their episode was The One Where Joey Does This,
Mm.
or
Yeah.
the
Well,
one where they go to a different bar, or it's that kind of. Yeah, it was really great. I've got no comments about formatting. Obviously, Chris, your onions, and it's zipped along really well, and I liked the banter between them. Donny and Dina was great, and I loved the fact that you've got like Joni and Mitchell and Donna, and all of those references which are straight out of the 80s, really. And I like the fact, and this is something that I like, is that it's contemporary, but it's not contemporary, because it's like the 80s or 40 years ago now, which is quite scary when you think about people of a certain age. But also think about it, it's a time when we weren't completely obsessed by our mobile phones, because phones were like in there, they were those Nokia things, those tiny little where you struggled to text and they weren't full words. And yeah, it's brilliant not having mobile phones in a script.
But it's nice how they're having to sort of stretch the cord of their phone, to sort of go out on garden and things like that, and get wound up in them and things like you did. They're using, I think that's happening in the writing, isn't it? The kind of tethering of a landline.
I remember that on our phone in the hall with the super long line, because my mother was literally same thing, tuck it under there. And she would wander around the downstairs of the house with this cord following her everywhere.
But actually, strangely enough, I've been trying to watch Stranger Things, and there was an episode in that very early on where I forget what her name is. The phone keeps burning out. I don't know whether you've seen Stranger Things, but the phone keeps burning out, and she goes and gets a new phone and she plugs it in, and she then tries to sit down with it in the lounge, and realizes she's tethered to the wall by the phone, and then she has to move the chair closer so that she can stretch the cable.
I have a script that takes place in the 90s, but it's mostly like kids, and so I found that it like sometimes like time period, there's always something relevant, but definitely it was funny to explain to them like these sorts of things that they didn't like. But what does that mean? Like what's a payphone? Those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Well, we enjoyed that anyway, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah.